without a thing. Say some vows and spread their wings and settle down just what they need, living on love. She don't care about what's in style. She just likes the way he smiles. It takes more than marble and tile, living on love. Living on love, buying on time. Without somebody, nothing ain't worth a dime. Just like an old-fashioned storybook rhyme, living on love. It sounds simple, that's what you're thinking. But love can walk through fire without blinking. It doesn't take much when you get enough, living on love. Two old people without a thing, children gone, but still they sing, side by side in that front porch swing, living on love. He can't sue anymore. She can barely sweep the floor. Hand in hand they'll walk through that door, just living on love. Living on love, buying on time. Without somebody, nothing ain't worth a dime. Just like an old-fashioned storybook rhyme, living on love. It sounds simple, that's what you're thinking. But love can walk through fire without blinking. It doesn't take much when you get enough, living on love. You're living on love, buying on time. Without somebody, nothing ain't worth a dime. Just like an old-fashioned storybook rhyme, living on love.
If you're able, I now invite you to stand to welcome the family.
But love can walk through fire without blinking. It doesn't take.
When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step, and I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, struggles I have carried all these years. And I leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. So much pain and so much darkness in this world we stumble through. All these questions I can't answer, and so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going,
oh, when I get where I'm going,
there'll be only happy tears. I will love and have no Yeah, when I get where I'm
When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not here to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we did not get to say. I know how much you love me as much as I love you, and each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. When tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand. The angel said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I would have to leave behind all those I dearly love. But when I walked through heaven's gates, I felt so much at home. When God looked down and smiled at me from His golden throne. I want to welcome you all here today to honour and celebrate the life of Judith Mary Colgrave, known to us as Judy. Judy was deeply woven into the fabric of our community. When someone like Judy passes, it's not only her family who feel the loss, but it's the whole community who feel it too, holding both their own grief and the grief of those that she loved the most. Judy belonged to many across generations, families, and all stages of life, and she made room for people wherever she went. Judy left her earthly body on the 7th of January 2026 at the age of 77. For her family, this loss leaves a space that cannot be filled. My name is Ali Dennison. I'm an independent celebrant, and on behalf of Parkside Funerals and Judy's family, it's my honour to lead this time of remembrance as we celebrate Judy's life and say goodbye. Before we begin, I ask that you please ensure your mobile phones are turned to silent. Today's service is being live streamed, and we warmly welcome those joining us from afar. Your presence is felt and appreciated. Following our service, you are warmly invited to join us here for refreshments and the sharing of stories. Judy was never someone who asked for attention or sympathy. She didn't dwell on what life took from her. Instead, she focused on what still needed to be done and those who still needed her. That strength and resilience is something we will speak of often today, not because her life was easy, but because she met it head on again and again without complaint. Judy was the dearly loved wife of Michael, who passed away in 1991, a loss that came far too early, leaving Judy with 3 young adults and life decisions that no one should have to make alone. She was the adored mum and mother-in-law of Philip and Selena, Tim and Shah, and Jane and Simon, who is no longer with us. She was a much-loved Nan Jude to Michael, Daniel and Ashley, and Joel Branston, to Jack and Saxon Colgrave, to Tyler Colgrave and Jetta Maguire, and a beautiful great-grandmother, Jude, to Tallulah and Rudy. Judy was also someone who gathered children, stepchildren, step-grandchildren, friends' kids, and loved them as her own. If you were part of the family circle, you were adored. She was the eldest daughter of Wallace, known as Barry, and Yvonne Hand, who have both passed, and a loving sister and sister-in-law to Margaret and Alan Gamble, who have also passed, and to Elizabeth and Barry Triffett. She was also a much-loved daughter-in-law of Stanley and Mary Colgrave, and a dearly loved sister-in-law to Kay and Robert Layton, and to Jill and John Smith, with Robert and Jill now deceased. She was the adored auntie to all her nieces and nephews. Today we will hear from Judy's loved ones who will tell us about Jude in the different seasons of her life, from family, from grandchildren, and from those who walk beside her through both the hardest and the happiest years of her life. There will be tears, no doubt, but there will also be laughter. Judy was competitive, passionate, and fair. She loved her sport, her routines, her crosswords, her quiz shows, her music, and above all, she loved her people. And so today we tell her story honestly, with warmth, with humour, and with deep respect for a woman who simply kept going, for her kids, for her grandkids, and for everyone who needed her. To begin, I'd love to invite Judy's brother-in-law, Barry Triffett, to come forward. Every life has a beginning chapter, and Barry will take us there. Would you like to hold it or put it in there?
Thanks. Yes, I'm Barry, Judy's brother-in-law. Always called Bar by Judy, and she's the only one that ever called me Bar, and when I heard the word Bar, I knew exactly who it was. So, Barry and Yvonne, as mentioned, Hand, had 3 girls, Judy being the eldest, Margaret the middle one, and Elizabeth, my wife, the youngest. They grew up in Riverside, had very active and fulfilling lives, and after attending Riverside Primary School, Judy spent the first year of high school at the Launceston High School in Launceston, of course, and the Riverside High was being constructed during that time. So when completed, Judy became a Riverside High student. Younger sibling Libby, who I mentioned is my wife. Her first memory of following her 2 sisters to school was, oh no, not another Hand. Because the Hands used to cop a bit, I think, of where's your foot and all that sort of stuff back in those days. Every chance the Hand family had, they packed the car and headed off to Bridport to join the extended family. Libby recalls, as numbers grew, their mums, fathers, and their returned colonel, commonly known as Dar, the grandfather, would have a campsite set up including tents and a small cooking hut. Yes, we had to line up like we were in the army. All the aunties, all the uncles, all the cousins. 4 families, the Spotswoods, the Hands, the Farquhars, and the Bardenhagens, involving 13 cousins. And it's a bit different ratio today because there was 10 girls out of the 13 and 3 boys, And now when you look around, we'll see we're nearly full of boys in the family, so things do change over the years. Soon the campsite was outgrown, so Dar purchased property and oversaw the construction of a bunkhouse where 4 girls were assigned to share each room. Libby still reflects on the chaos, but boy did we have some fun, she said. On school holidays it was common to have up to 30 or more kids gathering on Croquet Lawn Beach, playing beach games, swimming and water skiing. Judy enjoyed playing netball, basketball during her school days. She maintained a close friendship with girls from high school, having annual get-togethers every December. And she really used to enjoy that, and she used to come and stop with us in Launceston and had a great time catching up with those girls year after year. Judy met Michael Colgrave in 1967, a young farmer from the Caroola Pipers River area. On the farm, there was milking and beef cattle, pigs, and an annual crop of spuds. Rest assured, Judy wasn't all that keen on animals back in those times. However, she soon settled into the country life. In early marriage, they took on the task of building a new home. I had the pleasure of fitting it out and building their kitchen cupboards and their wardrobes. Judy worked in Launceston while helping on the farm at weekends, at the same time seeking out new friends from the surrounding districts. Eldest child Philip was there from the early days, followed by Tim and Jane, all growing up through their early years on the family farm, along with early country schooling. Lib and I spent many a weekend out there. Judy loved cooking a traditional Sunday roast. I think it also provided a reason for her not to have to go out and work on the farm at the time. At the same time, spending a lot of time with Lib, and as we all know and appreciate, she just loves family and she loves friends, so she had a great time there. And Margaret, the middle sister, who passed away some years ago, was there quite often on weekends as well. And Judy really relished those times, spending time with her sisters. In 1981, Judy and Michael decided a new life and a bigger farm was the challenge they desired. The decision to make the huge move 270 kilometres away from Caroola to Alcomi was achieved, doubling their dairy herd while settling into a new community. The Hand family had regularly visited Smithton to stay with Bess and Bill Spotswood, so Judy knew the area quite well back in those years. The old farmhouse needed some tender, loving care, so during those early months, upgrading was required. And I can tell you there were some stories about some of that upgrading along the way, and I was there on a few occasions, including a chainsaw that did a job one day for us. Unfortunately, Judy lost Michael in 91. However, she remained on the farm for some time following that. As the family was growing, they were able to assist in daily chores. When the time came to leave the farm, I'm not sure about this, but I think something to do with encountering a certain cookie may have contributed to the decision. And I'm sure some of the family members can relate to that certain cookie. The move into Smithton, initially making home in Harrison Street, then moving and spending over 20 years in a unit complex in Sampson Avenue. I clearly remember suggesting to Jude after she moved to town, maybe time to get involved with some local organisations, some clubs, maybe meet a few local bachelors, Jude. And she looked at me and said, "Bar, no way. I just want to get involved with my grandchildren, enjoy their growing up." And this was paid back in spades, I would suggest, with regular visits from all of them, especially when they started work, and she used to serve up a lunch for them when they called in around lunchtime. Judy loved following family sporting achievements through her own 3 and then, of course, all her grandchildren. Once settling into Sampson Avenue, Judy joined the local golf and the bowls club. She played both those sports while meeting and retaining many friends from those days. In fact, it appears to me that probably everybody in town was a friend of Jude's. As she entered the twilight years of her working life, delivering bread and bakery items all over and surrounding areas, I said to her when she arrived home late one morning, "So Jude, you still enjoy getting up in the early hours of the morning?" And she answered, "At least I'm not milking cows anymore, Bar." Liv and I have shared beautiful memories with Jude, a fabulous auntie to our children, our grandchildren, and Margie's kids and that as well. She always retained a deep interest in all of our families, followed our achievements, sporting activities, and excelled at making Christmas cakes and puddings with Lib each year. Thank you, Judy, for being such a wonderful sister and sister-in-law. We'll miss you, but never forget our wonderful time on earth together.
Judy's story, of course, continued to unfold through farming, motherhood, widowhood, becoming a grandmother, and later navigating changes that required courage most of us hoped we'd never have to find. I'd now like to invite daughter Jane to come forward to share reflections on her mum's later years, years that will show us Judy's strength in a whole new way.
On behalf of Phil and Selena, Tim and Shah, myself, and the rest of the families, thank you for all being here today to help us say our final goodbyes to beautiful Jude. We've been completely overwhelmed by the love that's been shown by us through visits, phone calls, messages, meals, photos, and all the memories that people have shared, and hopefully more memories shared today. It has meant more to us than we can ever say, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. There are many family members and friends who couldn't be here today in person, and we're grateful that they are able to join us on live stream. We're sending our love to each and every one of you as well. Phil, Tim and I feel incredibly lucky to have called her our mum, Jude, Mama Bear, the old girl. She answered to them all. At one point, she got sick of us saying mum, so she said, for God's sake, call me something else. And that gave us the green light to go with some absolute beauties. Growing up at Piper's River, Mum was learning how to be a mother of 3 energetic kids while also being a farmer's wife. Just down the road on the other side of the farm were Dad's parents, Nan and Granddad, who Mum visited regularly and helped out wherever she could. It was a place where family and friends were always coming and going, and often staying for days. There was fishing, hunting and the slaughtering of beasts and pigs, and Mum would be right there ready to cook up a storm with whatever come through the door. The beers would start flowing, the music would play, and the kids would all end up asleep together in the big lounge room, wherever they happened to drop. And without fail, Mum would be the last one to bed, cleaning up the mess, quietly putting blankets on everyone, and heading off to bed herself. We often travelled to Bridport, especially during the summer holidays. It was where Mum had spent most of her childhood, surrounded by aunties, uncles and a big tribe of cousins, many of whom they still talk to today. The tradition carried on with us. 3 sisters, 11 kids would descend on Nan and Pop's place. We always loved going there because it meant one thing, the beach. Mum, Auntie Marg and Auntie Lib would have everything organised, lining us all up and loading us up as we headed out the door. We'd walk down to Auntie Mal's and Uncle Frank's place, where the rest of the cousins were waiting, ready to take over Croaky Lawn Beach. With so many of us swimming, there was strict family rules. Don't go too far out. Phil, Tim and I, being the older ones, were slowly testing the waters and sneak out past our waist. Before long, there was Mum, our very own family lifeguard, standing on the shore, yelling our names, waving her arms like she's bringing down a Boeing Fit 747. It was safe to say everyone on the beach knew exactly who we belonged to. Mum and Dad decided it was time for a new adventure for our family, and that meant 6 months living in Bridport with Nan and Pop, followed by the long trip to Alcombe. Mum's role as a farmer's wife suddenly took a whole new meaning. She had to quickly learn how to milk cows, rear calves, get us kids off to the new school, keep up with the housework and somehow manage everything else Dad added to the list. I'm pretty sure this is where she learnt some very colourful language we hadn't heard before, especially the day Dad told her to catch a calf running past her while she was knee-deep in mud. Mum was very clever and she knew how to delegate, mainly to us kids. Everyone had to pitch in and get the jobs done. At our age, it probably wasn't up to her standards, and there were many arguments, tears, and the occasional firm reminder from Dad to help your mother out. As we settled into farm life, family and friends often came to visit and check out our new home. Mum would make sure the cupboards, fridge, freezer were full, and there was enough beds made up for everyone. Dad would usually help by taking the food out of the fridge and putting the beer in. Mum missed her family and friends after the move, and whenever she got the chance, usually when the cows were out, she'd head back to Bridport head back to Bridport. And after Nan and Pop passed, she'd stay with Auntie Marg, Auntie Lib, Auntie Kay and Uncle Robert, and see as many cousins as she could possibly fit in. She also made time to catch up with her lifelong friends, Vicky and Gerald Rush and Marg and Ted Breen. And every year she rarely missed her school friends catch-up, who came to her surprise 50th, and they even included her by FaceTime at their 60-year school reunion just last year. She was so excited about that. Mum wasted no time making new friends. She got to know the neighbours quickly, and with us kids playing footy, cricket, hockey, softball, she soon knew half the district. She was involved in many aspects of the clubs, and while Dad, the social one, would join in for the odd beer, Mum would round us up and drive us home in time to milk. In 1991, Mum's world come crashing down. Dad passed away, and suddenly she was a grieving widow and left to run the farm and help support us aged 17, 19 and 21, when none of us had ever known that kind of loss. Family and friends stepped in wherever they could, and with Tim's help, Mum showed incredible strength and determination just to keep going. None of us were old enough to really take on the farm, so the decision was made to share farm. 4 years later, Phil put his hand up to take it on, which allowed Mum to begin her new chapter in life in town. Moving to Harrison Street gave Mum a new sense of freedom. She could travel, she could visit family without worrying about the farm, work at the fish factory and enjoy a more social life. What she didn't know was the big surprise that was just around the corner. When I told her she was going to become a grandmother, her reaction quite wasn't what I expected. How the hell did that happen? After the news sank in, just two days later, Mum and her friend KK had the knitting needles running hot. Becoming a nan gave her a whole new purpose in life. As the years went by and our families grew, so did her heart. With 6 grandsons and so much love to give, she didn't miss a moment of their lives, babysitting, baking, early morning visits to get them off to school, birthdays, sports drop-offs and pick-ups, meals ready on the go, never missed school sports day, a basketball, footy match, running events or BMX races. Whatever sport was going on, she was there. She knew each of them inside out. She was fair, she was soft when needed. She kept up with their lingo, but she never let them get away with anything. And if they stepped out of line, she'd be sure to let them know, sometimes with that colourful language that she'd learnt many years ago. It was time for Mum to downsize and move into a unit at Sampson's Avenue. Letting go of a lifetime of belongings was no easy task, especially trying to fit a big house into a small one, but she accepted the change. Not long after the move, Mum lost her dear sister Margaret. It took her some time to come to terms with that loss, but as family, we surrounded her with love. She kept busy at Cotty's Kitchen Bakehouse, and slowly, day by day, things became a little easier. Then along came grandson number 7, Jeddah. He was 5 when him and Mum met, and they hit it off straight away. He brought light and joy back into her life. Over the following years, Mum faced some ongoing health issues and remained fiercely independent until 3 years ago when her health declined and led to the amputation of her lower legs. After a long stay in hospital, she moved into Emmerdon Park. So much change for Mum in this short time. Her independence, choices and freedom were taken away, and she also was coping with the loss of a dear and close cousin, Jo Johnson. But her fighting spirit, resilience, determination kicked in, and she gradually adjusted to her new way of life. She was excited when I started work at Emmerdon Park. I got to see her most days and could keep an eye on her. Phil would often drop in of a morning to update her on what he was up to. Selena would visit and take her for outings down the street. And Tim and Shah came for visits every chance they got from New South Wales. The grandsons visited as often as they could for lunch or just to sit with her and talk. Her excitement when she became a great-grandmother meant more visitors to see. She loved them to bits and loved watching them play and chat in a room. Mum had many visits from family and friends all over the state and across Australia. She loved every single visit and would always tell us excitedly who has been to see her. Every visitor truly made her day. Her dearest friend, Bev Amos, has been by her side for over 44 years. Through the good times and bad, along with Donnie, Robert and Michael, all of whom became like family to Mum. Bev, thank you for your friendship to Mum. She cherished you immensely. Along with Bev, Mum also treasured her neighbour and friend for over 20 years, Helen Burtwhistle. Both of these ladies spent countless Saturday afternoons with Mum sharing coffee at the Emmerton Park coffee shop, something Mum looked forward to every single week. Mum's last 2 weeks were full of love and laughter. Her birthday was celebrated in the sports bar at Emmerton Park, and on Christmas Day I woke her singing Christmas carols before Michael and Joel picked her up for the day to take to Phil and Selena's. She loved every moment, the beautiful day, the food, and watching us hit golf balls into the neighbour's paddock from the window. After that day, Mum's health began to decline, and she knew it was nearing time for her to go. Mum loved the simple things: country music, ABBA, Dolly Parton, reading, crosswords and swimming at Torleys. She enjoyed a good movie, watching sport, eating crayfish, whitebait and mutton bird, and of course a feed of scallops and a half Malibu and Diet Coke. Mum lived for her family and cherished her friends, many of whom she treated as a family. Anyone who knew Jude knew she had a big heart, had open arms, an open home, a meal on the table and a warm bed. To all the staff at Emmerton Park, our family sincerely thank you for the beautiful care you provided Mum in a place that she came to call her home. She truly appreciated the time you took to sit with her, have a chat and make her feel valued. She trusted each and every one of you and felt completely comfortable in your care. Auntie Lib, we can't thank you enough for being here for the past 2 weeks. We know there is nowhere else you would have been. We are so deeply sorry for the loss of your last remaining sibling, your dear sister. To all the nieces and nephews, please know that your Auntie Jude loved you, each and every one of you, dearly. Our precious cargo, our queen, our mum. You paved the way for all of us in this thing called life. Your work ethic, strength, resilience, determination and unconditional love were extraordinary, and you never once complained the hand that you were dealt. There will always be a void in our lives and a piece of our hearts that will go with you. But we will carry everything you taught us and forever cherish the memories we shared. We love you. We will miss you. May your angel wings fly you high and free.
Such beautiful tributes there. It's easy to notice that the strength from Jude certainly runs through the family. Judy's family now invites you to take a moment to reflect on her beautiful life through a collection of photos that capture the people, places and the moments that mattered to her. These images will tell Jude's story in a way that words sometimes can't. Her people, her passions and the captured moments that mattered most. Such a perfect tribute. Judy's grandchildren were at the centre of her world, so loved and fiercely supported. I now invite Judy's daughter-in-law, Selena, and grandchildren to come forward and share some words about what it meant to be loved by Nan Jude.
Righto, let's fuck this chook, eh? Hey everyone, for those of you that don't know us, we're the grandkids. The ones who always saw Jude at her very best, were completely spoiled and got away with more than we ever should have when she was around. If you spent any time with Jude, you know she had a big soft spot for us. From the moment we came along, we were the light of her life, and yes, we absolutely took advantage of that. Thank you for all being here today to celebrate someone who gave us endless love, plenty of laughs, too many mug cakes and jelly slices from the bakery, and memories we'll carry with us forever. We'd like to share a few of them with you now. If Jude wasn't the one driving us to a sporting event, you could bet she was still tagging along for the ride. Footy, athletics, basketball, you name it, she'd somehow be there, racing across the state just to make sure she didn't miss a minute of it. She was never late for any of it, but she never left early enough to get there on time either, which meant she spent half the time driving like a maniac to make sure she got there. She was our number one supporter, and if you ever went to one of our sporting events, you'd probably noticed. When Jack won his first 100-metre gift, Jude was so excited she ran the entire length of the track to chase him down for a hug and congratulate him. By the time she'd reached him, she'd recorded the second fastest time of the day just behind Jack. I still think she deserves a medal for that one. And when Joel won a race at an Auskick Carnival, Jude ran down the front of the grandstand, in front of everyone, chanting, "That's my grandson, that's my grandson," just in case anyone was unclear of that beforehand. Of course, being our biggest supporter also meant she was extremely one-eyed. There were a few occasions when the officiating didn't quite meet her standards, and she was more than ready to take the whistle and do it herself, and she definitely let the umpires know it quite clearly. Jude always took way too much care of us. She'd come down in the morning, wake us up for school, and sing her little songs to us, everyone personalised for each grandkid. Daniel still gets PTSD from being woken up with "wakey wakey, hands off snakey." She'd cook us breakfast, bring down the paper so we could flick through the sports pages together, and even make and pack our lunches. And she kept doing this long past the age when anyone should have been getting that type of treatment anymore. Honestly, she probably would have tucked us in and wiped our asses if she thought we needed it. Jude knew exactly when everyone's smoko break and lunch break were. Like clockwork, she'd have a platter ready as Dan, Sax and Joel rotated through. Eat, relax, back to work. She was also so prepared that her house was basically a food warehouse. Jetta could show up unannounced with 4 of his mates. Within minutes, Jude would already have a spread ready, sending him off stuffed full of chips, lollies and cordial like there was no big deal. Jude was usually very calm when it came to us grandkids. She had endless patience and time for us, but she'd also picked up some very colourful language over the years. After raising Phil, Tim and Jane, that was probably inevitable. Saxon, however, definitely tested her limits at the best of times. We discovered that Jude had an extra few words in her vocabulary whenever he was playing up. The ultimate test came when he snuck off with her iPad and sat quietly for hours, which was very unusual anyway. Jude thought nothing of it at the time, until a month later when she got a credit card bill for around $1,000 from iTunes. He got on a bit of a spending spree. Let's just say a few F-bombs and C-words accidentally slipped out, but we all know she meant every single bloody one of them. Jude never missed a birthday or a milestone for any of us grandkids. She made sure Tyler's presents made it to the post office on time for his birthday or Christmas, no matter what. She was always keeping in touch, ringing or FaceTiming us all after Jack had spent months trying to teach her how to use the phone and being patient with her saying, "Just press the bloody circle button, man." Jude had recently become a great grandmother to Tallulah and Rudy, who had probably just pipped the rest of us as her favourites. Actually, she probably wasn't even trying to hide it. That was just Jude, though. She wasn't only our nan, she was every kid's nan. She treated us like we were the most important people in the world, and she did the exact same for every other child who came into her life. Whether it was her own grandkids, cousins, neighbours or friends' kids, she made sure everyone felt loved, fed and utterly spoiled. Jude was our biggest fan, our personal chef, our taxi driver, our driving instructor and the world's most enthusiastic cheerleader. She spoiled us, laughed with us, and she made sure we always felt loved, sometimes a little too loved, but we wouldn't have had it any other way. We'll miss her laughter, her songs, her pep talks and her chaos, the kind only Jude could create. Most of all, we'll carry her love with us every day in the stories we tell, the meals we share, and the way we cheer each other on. Thank you, Jude, for being our grandparent, our supporter, and our biggest hero. We fucking love you, Jude, and we always will. Come here, boys. Come here.
Jeepers. Judy's influence will certainly live on through her grandchildren in countless quiet ways. That was perfect. As we've heard today, Judy did not live her life loudly, but she lived it fully. Later in life, she played golf, lawn bowls and indoor bowls, always with determination and a competitive edge. She also loved her sport on television. If there was a game on, Jude was watching. Footy, golf, tennis. It didn't matter as long as there was sport to follow. She showed up for sport, for family, for neighbours, for friends. She cooked, she organised, she transported, she supported, she encouraged, and as we heard, she occasionally shared her thoughts with the umpires and players about exactly what they did wrong. And while she loved passion on the sidelines, she made it very clear to Tim that his so-called goal-kicking moon distraction had crossed the line. She was competitive but fair, strong but never self-pitying, independent to her core even when life tried to take that from her. Right until the end, Judy met life with acceptance, saying, "Well, it is what it is." And in that simple phrase was her entire philosophy. Keep going, do what needs doing, and don't make it harder than it already is. Judy grew up within the Church of England tradition, and while faith was never something that she spoke loudly about, it was part of her foundation. In that tradition, there is a simple belief that love does not end, that those who have gone before us are held in peace, and that we are not separated forever, only for a time. May that belief offer comfort today, and may Judy now be at rest, reunited with those that she has loved and missed so deeply. And may those who remain be held in strength and care in the days ahead. As we come to the close of the service, I invite you to carry Judy with you, not only in grief, but in example, in resilience, in showing up, in doing things for others without needing thanks, and in loving your people fiercely. Judy understood that life doesn't wait and that tomorrow isn't promised. As we leave here today, Judy's family will continue to feel her absence in the quiet moments, the moments when life keeps moving but she's no longer there to steady things. They will need their people. They will need the phone calls, the check-ins, the small acts of care. Judy spent her life looking after others. Now it's our turn to look after those that she loved the most. And as we now come to the committal, this is the moment where we pause and say our final farewell to Judy. We acknowledge the end of her earthly life while holding close everything she was and always will be to those who loved her. Judy, You are so dearly loved. You are in our hearts and our minds, and we will carry you with us as we move forward with our lives. Everything you have done is still done, and everyone you love is still loved. Everything we've learnt from you is still learnt, and so we will let you pass from this world for which you did so much and which you continue to do. Because when we walk this earth, we walk it with you. You leave us with the strength and pride to do what is good and right, and your memory will guide us, just as you did when you were at our side. Thank you for all that you were and all that you gave. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. When I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I've carried all these years. I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. When I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. We now send Judy on her final earthly journey, with gratitude for the life she lived and the love she gave, and with the comfort of knowing she is once again with Michael. On behalf of the family, you are warmly invited to remain here for refreshments and the sharing of stories. Thank you for being here today and for honouring such a remarkable woman. Farewell, Jude.
Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart, then you can start to make it better. Hey Jude, don't be afraid. You were made to